What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the G Pod. Nick and I are going to be covering today why we don't play Ken anymore. Now, we used to play Ken a ton, living together, playing together all the time growing up. Ken was a huge part of Nick and I's kendama play. But actually, as we progressively got older, even the better we got, we started to play Ken less and less and less. And that actually happened for us. It didn't even take that many years for us to, stop the frequency. And, we kept seeing a lot of other players play Ken. We would go down to Oregon, Portland to play with COTK. Ken was a big part of their game. And I remember distinctly thinking, like, why do you guys play Ken so much? Like, why do you guys do this? And I think even now, I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I played Ken with anybody. To tell you the truth, maybe last year Battle of the Border, but other than that, I really don't play Ken anymore. And Nick and I are going to tell you guys why we choose not to, and then give you an option at the end of this podcast to of a game you can play instead that is every plus that Ken isn't. So let's get into
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, guys. You'd think it's pretty optimal though for us as twin brothers growing up playing Kendama together, always having someone to play Ken with. And don't get me wrong, that is an optimal situation, right? You are always with somebody. You're never alone. You don't have to call anybody to play Ken. They're just right there. We're always around the same skill level too, so it's just like it was always a good match. I actually remember our first ever game we played, Zach. We got our first Kanamas and we played right then and there, and I lost. I actually remember the score. I only got one letter on you,
I don't even know
and
how you
you
remember that. That seems
and
impossible to
you beat me
remember.
KN to nothing. I lost my first match of Ken ever with my first official Kanama to Zach. K to KN. Yeah, it was
Like, do you
yeah,
like
that
remember the
was
tricks or?
no, not at all. But
Okay,
but
I'm surprised you can remember
definitely
that.
you probably set airplane against me or something. I couldn't airplane. I remember you could airplane. But anyway, that was a different time. As Zach said, the better we've gotten, we've played Ken less and less. And there's a couple of reasons. I mean, you know, in Ken, there's like there's a sense of winning, and some people play to win, and some people just play to push themselves and see what they can land during the game. Zach and I have always leaned towards, and don't get me wrong, we love winning Ken games, but we've always leaned towards just pushing ourselves and leaning into the fact that, man, it would be so sweet to land this insane trick in this game of Ken in front of you right now. Because we've always prioritized being good in person, and instead of going for the win all the time, just setting tricks that we know the opponent can't do, we know that we're much better at. We know that we can just hit real quick and not push ourselves. Instead of doing that, we kind of have leaned towards always essentially grinding like a session, but within the Ken game itself. And that's a really fun thing to do, but not everyone's always on that same page. And it also takes a really long time. I mean, I know Zach and I can play a game of Ken for hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm not sure what our longest game ever has been up until this point, but definitely longer than an hour for sure. Hour and a half, 2 hours leading up to there. Even in Dama, even in Van Jam, right, where it's not a Ken tournament, but Dama with four letters. Zach and I played in 2015 in summer. We've actually played a couple of times over at that competition, but I remember the first time we played for like 45 minutes in the semifinals, and we had to end up just, in our opinions, just copying out and kind of doing tricks just to win at that point. So I know we both didn't feel good about doing that to each other because that's not how we play, but that was the way of the competition. Anyway, there's a couple things. Yeah, so one is just takes too much time. It's a little redundant. Um, we're not, as we've grown older, we've had different responsibilities, different priorities into our lives, and it's not like we have 2 to 3 hours to do a game of Ken and then sesh after or film after. We have limited time. We want to prioritize that as much as possible. And as much fun it is to play Ken with certain people who really want to play Ken with their favorite pros, who want to play with Zach and I at events. It's something that we just have kind of fell off of by doing ourselves. And honestly, Zach, you can go ahead and take it away from here. But I mean, I'm just going to speak my opinion real quick. I don't even like playing Konami games that much at all. Just in a regular scenario, you know, almost. There's almost none that I like to just be like, yes, let's do this. Let's play Ken. Let's play one up. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it depends. And even with Ken too, Nick touched on it. Some people play to win, some people just play to challenge themselves and see where it goes. I think the Ken games are the most fun when you're on the same page with that person because it's no fun if you're just going hard as hell and you're challenging yourself and then another person sets a trick that's just super easy for them and you know they're just setting it to just get a letter on you. That's not really fun. And actually, as soon as I saw someone do that against me, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm either one, I'm gonna just stop playing right now because this is stupid, or two, I'm gonna have to do what this person's doing because I don't want to lose, but this doesn't feel good. And it's just like a weird, it's like, and then it's just not a game I want to be a part of. So, as long as you guys are on the same page, then for sure. But some people approach Ken differently. And as far as Ken games, I think it depends on who's in it. And again, it depends on where you're wanting to take it and stuff because Ken games can be like different kendama games can be fun, but but as I said, like if people are just playing to win, or some people are not that into it, some people are really into it. It just you see a lot of people drop off a game really really fast, and only the players who are really like are actually really into it want to play, and that could start out with the group of 10 and go to a group of like 3 really really fast. And it also depends on your skill level too. Like it's way more fun to play these games with people who are under skill level versus if I'm a pro, or no, if I'm a beginner and I'm playing with a pro in a game of like race to lace, then not really going to be that fun because we're going to be doing tricks that I can't do at all. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for Ken games, but I think the beauty in Kendama, of course, is you can use these games to enhance your play, which is awesome in a group setting. It can actually be really fun, one up, and all of that. Um, but yeah, actually, yeah, no, I mean, I don't know about you, Nick. I actually do like playing. I like playing one up and all these things, but not for an extended amount of time. I think Ken is usually the one when people ask me to play. I usually say no. That's the one I don't like playing.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if I get included in a game of one up or follow, like, I'll play for a couple of rounds maybe, and then I'm out. Usually, I'm honestly I don't know. I don't get bored, but per se, but I just feel like playing and doing my tricks with no limitations at all, just seshing, just in a circle. I think that's honestly more enjoyable just to me. But obviously, having games and having victors, winners and losers, just within mini games itself can definitely make for more fun at Kanama events or Kanama jams or just within your circle. I think it's a pretty good thing to lean into. It's just not for me. And especially Ken. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and play a game of Ken with Zack anymore, unless we had some huge stakes on it. There's no stakes with Ken. It's not like I can keep. It's not like if I miss, I'm going to lose anything. It's just like, oh, it's his turn. I'll just go again in a sec because I know Zach's probably going to miss because Zach is also going for an insane trick that's going to take us each like 20 minutes to even land once. So yeah, there's really no stakes, and it's honestly it's a very classic old game. Like I mean, with one up, Bang. I think COTK invented Bang. It's just pretty much can
I
you
forgot
have to.
about that.
Yeah, me too. But it's pretty much can except for there's 4 letters and there's also you have to go all in one line. You can't have any pauses within your line, so everything has to be insta or a single trick. Anyway, so there's that. There's been modifications like follow, one up, a couple different others, but I think Ken is just I don't know. I've been playing for 12 years and I'm not really trying to play a game of Ken for 2 hours anymore. Because just my personal mindset for it. Like I need to be pushing myself in this game or else it's just not fun. And then if I do, that's great. But then it just takes up 2 hours of my day. And then I'm like, okay, where I could be putting that time elsewhere.
You could be doing a lot more with your session. I mean, if you're trying to play Ken with somebody and that's the intent of the session, that's what you set out to do, of course, that's the best option if that's what you really, really want to do. But let's say you play a game of Ken, like, let's play a game of Ken to warm up, and then it ends up taking 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's what Stod would say when he like when we've gone down there a couple times in Portland, like, let's warm up real quick, let's play Ken. I'm like, dude, what? To warm up? Like
Yeah.
I'd rather I can't be getting my reps in as fast if I'm playing Ken. Like I'm waiting for you. I have to think of my trick. I don't know. It's definitely. I mean, with them, it's always been pretty fun. But to warm up, I think, wow, okay, I got to warm up real quick by myself, and then we'll see. Then we can maybe play. But anyway,
Yeah, it's usually just
That's kind of
miss, wait, miss, wait, miss, wait, miss, wait, make. All right, someone got a letter. 25 minutes go by, someone gets in a letter. At least that's how I'm usually used to playing. So it can get a little redundant, a little stale, especially, I mean, people fall out of love with Ken games of playing somebody really, really fast. And yeah, it can just go from it can be real, it can be not fun. Like it's easy to have it be not fun.
yeah. It's I mean, I think there's kind of a mutual understanding when it gets to that point. Like miss, 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 miss. Okay, nobody's letting anything. Let's just call it. Let's just quit. That can happen too. That's happened with Zach and I a lot. Like, hey, this isn't going to finish anytime soon. We're just going to call it here because we kind of want to do something else. We have had like our last memorable Ken game. We were just talking about this before we went live, but yeah, it was over 3 years ago. I'd say about almost 3.5 years ago. We remember session in this park. We had just moved. It was during Corona, so we went back to our parents' house for 6 months, and we had just moved into an apartment for the first time in our lives. Taking a year off school, moved out of our parents' house, went there into Seattle, um, started working jobs, and we discovered this new park that we were living really close to, and we just played Ken for a little while. Just was kind of enjoying all the new environment, the new kendamas we had, the new, I guess, endeavors and responsibilities that came with living in an apartment with other people, and then also our first jobs in a long time, just working full-time hours, our first time doing that. So everything was new and it was really fun. But I think that's the last time we played Ken and we're like, wow, that was really, really amazing. Like that, I'm so glad we did that.
It was like an hour and a
Um,
half game where both K to K Nick won, and he did like this insane steal trick that I literally had no shot getting. And all the tricks we set were just insane. So that was a really fun game. And I remember the only reason I remember is because I took a selfie and posted it on my story with Nick, like with masks on. It was literally fresh Corona. So that was pretty funny. But yeah,
yeah.
that's the only reason I remember it. But guys, we said at the beginning of this podcast we would come at you with a solution or a new fun game that's been you guys may have seen recently, and that is called Pop. Same concept with letters, but instead of Ken, it's Pop. And Nick actually attended a tournament just using this style really recently in Tokyo, and I'd love for him to explain the rules to you guys.
Yeah, guys. So this game is called Pop, P-O-P. Um, 3 letters, just like Ken. And so every rule is the exact same, except for if you miss a trick on your own set. If you try to set a trick and you miss, you give yourself a letter. So the stakes are really high because now you can't miss. You can't warm up. You can't just try over and over again. If you do that and you miss, well, you're going to get a letter. And in this way, the game usually ends really fast and there's really high stakes and you have to play to your strengths. You have to play to the tricks that you know you can hit or the ones you've practiced up until this point. It's just a really new dynamic. I really love it because one, very, very good. Time wise, just never takes that long. Two, you have to hit your tricks or else it's a letter. The stakes are extremely high because nobody wants to get out on their own trick and just miss and just lose the game. Never a good feeling. We all want to avoid that. Three, you can play it with anybody you want because anybody has a chance to win, right? If I go up against a kid in my neighborhood now at Spike, the current place I'm working at, I mean, obviously, if you play a game of Ken with a pro, you're probably going to lose, right? If they're just completely better than you, you probably have no shot of winning unless you play to win and do like really unique tricks, maybe some would say annoying that only you can do, and they're really odd, and you win by that. And like I said, that's not really how I like to play Ken anyway. So, but with Pop Game, all of that is completely okay. It's actually meant to play to your strengths. Nobody's going to try to mess around with their weaknesses in a game of Pop because if they miss, they're just going to screw themselves over. And so anybody can win. I mean, I could play a kid that's way, way below me in skill level, but if I miss, then I get a letter. And
And you
if
get
I
one
miss,
try. You get one try when they set a trick.
no, you get 2 tries. Everything's
Oh,
the same
okay.
as Ken.
And you get to
Everything's the
prove it
same
or
as
no?
Ken. It proves you get one prove as well.
Okay.
So yeah, if I set a trick and I miss, I get a letter. If someone sets a trick on me, I have 2 tries, 2 tries, and on the last letter, I get 3 tries or approve it. You know what I'm saying? So it could be go both ways. Um, but anyway, I just really like it because anybody can win. Some people, for an actual competition, I like the fact that I mean, obviously the best people are still winning. I just went to a pop game competition in December, and Madi and Takia were the top two. They had already won. Pop the sorry, the competition is actually called POPSWAG, and they've done it 3 times now. One in June of last year, one in August of last year. Sorry, one in September of last year, and then one in December. The first two were just more of like game-esque. It was just a fun vibe for everyone to go around, play pop with each other, see who accumulated the most points and got up on stage. They picked the top 16 and they battled it out for a bunch of prizes. But this one in Windsor there was actual prelims, there was actual finals. And it's funny, right? Because this is a game that's kind of like Ken, but the cash prize was bigger than Catch and Flow. And they had so many prizes and kendamas and apparel to give away. Like if you won this game of Ken, this game of Pop, you were going home winning big. And Madi won big because Madi won in the finals. He won the first ever Pop Swag, I think, got a seed for this December tournament. And Takia won the second ever Pop Swag, got a seed for the December tournament. And lo and behold, those two ended up making it to the finals of the entire thing. I personally lost to Madi in the first round of the top 16. I think it was a pretty good match. You played best of three games. It was really, really fun. Madi just was literally countering everything I set. So that was a little tough, but
Classic.
it's what it is. Classic. He can do anything. So yeah, and I just got screwed over by turntables. I mean, he's got so many turntable moves that he can just do. He's really, really strong in pop game for sure with the current rules. I know they're going to change it soon for the next competition, but that's pretty much the gist of it, guys. Just like Ken, but if you miss, you give yourself a letter. Put it simply. And anybody can win. You can play with as many people as you want, and you can play with anybody who likes kendama. If they're an intermediate player and you're a pro, you can still play with them because you can still lose, and it's still fun. Everybody's gonna be hyped if you miss, and everyone's gonna be hyped if someone makes a trick. It can go
Talk
both
about
ways.
suspense. Like talk about suspense because I mean it's so exciting. It must have been so exciting to watch these games in person. And it is it's gonna be generally more fun to watch than I mean way more fun to watch than Ken because Ken can take forever. You don't really, you know, you can miss and nothing happens, but Pop, you miss, you get a letter, anybody can win, ends really fast, super exciting. And plus even if a person does land a trick, it's actually more hype too because people are like, okay, yes, I landed a trick. I didn't get a letter on myself. So
Right.
that's really, really exciting to watch. And I mean, I'd love to, I choose that to watch 100 times over than any random Ken game, any Ken
Yeah,
tournament. Because
100%.
I mean, yeah, like Nick, like we would play Dama at Van Jam. We'd be sitting there for 45 minutes. People would be watching, but it'd be like a chore to watch, for them because we're actually playing like a regular game for us. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't be fun. Like it's just not fun to watch. It would drag on that long. So,
Yeah.
that's just one example. And yeah, everything else we were saying about why we don't play Ken, PopSwag kind of negates it, and it's the other way around. So if you guys are listening to this, try and play Pop with your friends, bring it to the next sesh, incorporate in the Konami games that you guys use, One Up, Follow, Ken, whatever else you play, Race to Lace, Unicorn, try Pop, set up people against with similar skill levels or not. And yeah, just go crazy because it'll end super, super fast. And it's really, really exciting if it probably lasts longer than like 2 minutes or like 3 minutes. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a really cool thing to set as an actual competition and at a real event. I mean, as Zach said, pop is something that ends very, very quickly. And it's also the stakes are just massive. I'm not going to say it's always going to end in an instant. If two people are on fire, they're going to keep matching each other, keep setting tricks. It's still good, but it's not going to go for 45 minutes. It's not going to go for an hour. You're never going to have to worry about running out of time. Pop game is something that could definitely be implemented more in tournaments. And yeah, it's just really, really fun to watch. I think Dama Van Jam is great, but if you want to try something new, try Pop out with your friends in your own jam circle, at your own local community with your friends down the block at an actual event, get some people together, play a group game, play a one-on-one, doesn't really matter. See how it goes, and then hopefully we can get that going in the States as well. Over here in Japan, it's become kind of a thing. Everybody knows what it is. And it'd be cool to roll out a new style of competition like that in the States as well. I think it'd be really, really cool. I think people would enjoy it. But guys, there we have it. That's why we don't play Ken anymore. Not only with each other, but mostly with most other people as well. And in substitution of that, Pop game, POP. Instead of the Ken game, it's now Pop. Try it out, guys. Stakes are high. It's a lot more fun and it's really fast. You can play with anyone. It's really cool. With that note, I think we're out. We'll see you guys in the next one and have a good rest of your day.
See you guys.